36 count 数える total 全体の tourist 旅行者 condition 状況throughout は場所期間中にわたって意味の前置詞 throughout the house 家中を throughout the night 一晩中 number や population の場合多い少ないは large や small を使う population of China is much larger than that of Japan try one's luck は運を試す一か八かやってみるここですね try your luck How many coffee shops are there in Japan? How many coffee shops are there in Japan? 違う I doubt if anyone has taken the trouble to count all the questions throughout the country, but the total number must be very large. I doubt if はなんちゃらかどうか疑問だとかなんちゃらかどうか疑問に思うとかなんちゃらかどうか疑わしいとかですね。I doubt if anyone has take the trouble to は、わざわざ V する。Take the trouble to count all the questions throughout the country, but the total number must be very large. Japanese people take coffee shops for granted. 当たり前に思ってる。Tourists, however, are very impressed with the large number of coffee shops. I live in a large city and the nearest coffee shop is within reach. Within reach は、ほとんど目の前にあるとか、すぐ近くとか。なんちゃら is within reach で、なんちゃらはすぐ近くにある。I live in a large city and the nearest coffee shop is within reach. Believe it or not, there is dozens of coffee shops within a 2-kilometer area of my house. Believe it or not は信じられないかもしれないが、dozens of は、何十もの多数のとかですね。There are dozens of coffee shops within the 2-kilometer area of my house. Why are there so many questions? Is coffee most of all to their taste? コーヒーは to their taste ですか ?to one's taste はなんちゃらの好みに合う。Coffee is to my taste はコーヒーは私のテイストに合う。好みに合うってことですね。Most of all はとりわけですね。Are they famous for being the world's greatest coffee drinkers and do they take more pleasures in drinking coffee than any other people in the world? Are they famous for なんちゃら is famous for でなんちゃらで有名である。Being the world's greatest coffee drinkers and do they take more pleasures and take pleasure in viewing で V することを楽しむとか何々を楽しむとかですね drinking coffee more than any other はなんちゃら比較級プラス than any other なんちゃらで 他のなんちゃらよりもなんちゃらみたいな最上級小等表現ですね。No, I don't think so. The answer is connected with living conditions rather than with drinking habits. The answer is connected with living conditions rather than はなんちゃらというよりもむしろ、with drinking habit というよりもむしろI remember reading a British newspaper which said the average Japanese lives in a rabbit hutch. I remember reading a British newspaper which said the average Japanese lives in a rabbit hutch. Of course, the newspaper was not saying that Japanese homes were dirty. Was not saying that Japanese homes were dirty. It was referring to their size. It was referring to their size. In other words, Japanese homes are quite small on the average in comparison with British houses. Japanese homes are quite small on the average. In comparison with はなんちゃらと比べると British house と比べると Therefore, I think the Japanese substitute hesitant for a living room. I think the Japanese substitute hesitant for a living room. Substitute なんちゃらこれを使う living room の代わりにsome people make use of hesitant on business. Make use of 利用するサテンを on business は仕事で Why don't you try your luck and drop in at one of these coffee shops in Japan? Drop in どこどこでなんちゃらに立ち寄るYou try your luck and drop in at one of these coffee shops in Japan. Okay. How many coffee shops are there in Japan? I doubt if anyone has taken the trouble to count all the Kessoten throughout the country. But the total number must be very, very large. Japanese people take coffee shops for granted. Tourists, however, are very impressed with the large number of coffee shops. I live in a large city and the nearest coffee shop is within reach. Believe it or not, there are dozens of coffee shops within a 2-kilometer area of my house. Why are there so many Kazakhstan? Is coffee most of all to their taste? Are they famous for being awards, greatest coffee drinkers, and do they take more pleasure in drinking coffee than any other people in the world? No, I don't think so. The answer is connected with living conditions rather than with drinking habits. I remember reading a British newspaper which said the average Japanese lives in a rabbit hutch. Of course, the newspaper was not saying that Japanese homes were dirty. It was referring to their size. In other words, Japanese homes are quite small on the average in comparison with British houses. Therefore, I think the Japanese substitute Kessoten for a living room. Some people make use of Kessoten on business. Why don't you try your luck and drop in at one of these coffee shops in Japan?